You ever notice how politics isn't about fixing anything? It's not about solving problems, it's not about helping people, it's not even about governing. No, it's about distraction. That's the whole show. It's like one big magic act, except the magician isn't even good. You can see the strings, you can see the cards sticking out of his sleeve, and he still stands there smiling like he fooled you. Look at this amazing democracy trick. Yeah, I saw the rabbit in the hat before you put it there, pal. The rabbit's looking at me like, get me out of here. That's all politics is, one endless distraction. They get you riled up about nonsense so you don't notice the real business going on behind the curtain. They put on a circus, complete with fireworks, patriotic music, and flags big enough to cover an aircraft carrier. And while you're staring at the shiny objects, mesmerized, the real deals are being signed in back rooms where you're not invited. It's like a street pickpocket show. You're watching the guy juggle while his friend is in your pocket stealing your wallet. And when you finally realize your money's gone, they tell you it's your fault for not paying attention. And the distractions, they're works of art. They'll argue about the color of a tie, the tone of a tweet, the timing of a handshake. They'll spend 3 weeks debating whether a politician sneezed in the correct direction. Meanwhile, trillions of dollars are disappearing into black holes of bureaucracy and corporate giveaways. But you don't care about that, because you're glued to the TV watching two grown adults fight like kids over who gets the bigger podium. It's not politics, it's reality TV with worse lighting. And they love giving you villains. They hand you a face, a name, someone to blame for everything. It's that guy's fault. He's ruining the country. So you hate that guy. You scream at him on TV. You foam at the mouth. But here's the kicker. The guy you're hating is just another puppet. He's not in charge. He couldn't run a lemonade stand without someone else writing the business plan. But you're convinced he's the devil himself. And while you're busy throwing darts at his picture, the real devils are counting their money in peace. And then, of course, the media plays its role. Oh, they're the carnival barkers. They're the ones selling you the tickets, pointing you toward the freak show. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. See the amazing scandal. Watch the incredible controversy. They keep you outraged 24 hours a day. Because outrage is addictive and outrage keeps you watching. You don't even remember what you were mad about last week, but don't worry. They've got something new lined up. You'll be mad again in 5 minutes. That's their promise. And it's brilliant, because while you're distracted, nothing ever changes. That's the real trick. You think you're witnessing history. You think something monumental is happening, but it's just another episode. Another season. Another rerun. They give you the illusion of movement, but the ride never goes anywhere. It's like one of those little coin-operated horses outside the supermarket. You're bouncing up and down thinking you're on an adventure, but you're still in the parking lot. They distract you with culture wars, too. Oh, they love that one. Get people fighting about bathrooms, flags, words, statues, anything symbolic, anything emotional, anything that gets you yelling at your neighbor. Because if you're yelling at your neighbor, you're not looking up, you're not noticing the people who actually screwed you. You're too busy hating the guy across the street for putting up the wrong lawn sign. Meanwhile, both your houses are being foreclosed by the same bank. But you don't notice because you're too busy arguing about pronouns on Facebook. That's the distraction at work, folks. And it's not just what they show you, it's what they don't show you. They'll spend hours on a politician's haircut, but never mention that the Pentagon misplaced another $100 billion. They'll give you live coverage of a scandal about who kissed who in college, but won't tell you your water supply is poisoned until you're glowing in the dark. They don't want you looking in the wrong direction, so they keep pointing somewhere else. Look over here. Look at this juicy drama. Don't look over there where we're robbing you blind. And people fall for it every single time. They line up for the circus like kids with cotton candy. They pick sides, they cheer, they boo, they wave their foam fingers. Go Team Red, or go Team Blue. It's sports for people who don't know they're the ball. And while you're screaming in the stands, the owners of the league are laughing all the way to the bank. Because whether your team wins or loses, the house always wins. And the best part, they make you think it's your idea. I care about this issue. I'm passionate about it. No, you're not. You didn't care about it until the TV told you to care about it. You didn't even know it existed. But now you're screaming at strangers in the grocery store like it's life or death. They program your outrage. They handpick your causes. They script your slogans. And you think you're independent. You think you're free. No, you're just reading from the teleprompter and you don't even know it. And what happens when the distractions wear thin? They invent new ones. Scandal fatigue? No problem, here's a new war. Tired of the war? Here's a new pandemic. Tired of the pandemic? Here's a new scandal. It's an endless conveyor belt of bullshit designed to keep you busy, tired, and confused. They don't want you thinking too hard, because thinking is dangerous. Thinking might lead you to ask questions. Questions like, who actually benefits from all this? And they can't have that. They'd rather keep you entertained. Bread and circuses, same as it ever was. Only now the bread is gluten-free and the circuses come in high definition. And don't you love how they always tell you it's urgent? This is the most important election of our lifetime. The stakes have never been higher. Oh, please. They say that every 4 years. If the stakes were really that high, we'd all be dead by now. But no, the system survives, the same people stay rich, the same problems remain unsolved. The only thing that changes is the intensity of the distraction. It's like a fire alarm that never stops ringing until you don't even hear it anymore. And if you think you're too smart for it, guess what? You're still in it. Because even ignoring the circus is part of the act. You think you've opted out, but you're still being affected by the distractions, because the people around you are hypnotized. Society runs on mass delusion, and you're living in the middle of it, whether you like it or not. The circus doesn't need your applause, it just needs your attention. And whether you clap or boo, you're still watching the show. That's the Great Distraction Act, folks. Keep them busy, keep them angry, keep them divided. And while they're busy chasing shadows and screaming at phantoms, we'll take care of the real business where nobody's looking. The circus without clowns, but with plenty of suckers in the audience. You ever notice how they keep telling you, you got a choice? That's the big selling point in politics. You've got freedom, you've got options, you've got 2 whole parties to pick from. 2. Isn't that generous? Out of all the infinite possibilities in the universe, they give you door number 1 and door number 2. That's it. And you're supposed to feel grateful, like you're in some buffet of democracy. Oh, look at all this variety. Yeah, 2 flavors of the same soup, and both of them are cold. And the beauty of it is, people actually argue about it like it matters. They pick a side like it's religion, like it's football, like their eternal soul depends on whether they vote red or blue. They tattoo the logos onto their brain where the merchandise chant the slogans. Meanwhile, the 2 parties are working for the same bosses. It's like Coke and Pepsi. Different marketing, same syrup, and both of them rot your teeth. But oh no, you're convinced one of them is the good one. One is gonna save the country and the other's gonna destroy it. You know what that's called? That's called advertising. They give you the illusion of choice, but the outcome never changes. The rich still run everything, corporations still write the laws, banks still control the money, and you're still paying more taxes than Amazon. The politicians change, the slogans change, the bumper stickers change, but your rent, your bills, your paycheck, they stay exactly the same. That's not choice. That's reruns. That's flipping between 2 channels on TV where the actors wear different costumes, but they're reading the same damn script. And they make a big show out of it. Debates, campaigns, rallies, it's like WrestleMania for boring people. They shout, they argue, they throw zingers at each other. And you think, wow, they're really different. No, they're not. They go to the same dinners, take money from the same donors, and vote for the same bills once the cameras are off. The whole fight is staged, and you're the audience, sitting there with your popcorn, yelling at the screen, convinced it's real. You're watching political theater, but the actors never forget they're on the same team. And you can't even opt out. They guilt you into participating. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Oh, really? I think not voting is the loudest complaint you can make. But they've tricked you into thinking your vote is sacred. Like it's this holy act of citizenship. No, it's just putting a check mark next to one of 2 options chosen for you by people you'll never meet. It's like being on a game show where the prize is a lifetime subscription to bills. Congratulations, you played yourself. And every 4 years, they pump up the drama. Oh, this is the most important election in history. Yeah, sure it is. They said that last time and the time before that and the time before that. If they were telling the truth, we'd have solved every problem on Earth by now. But we haven't, because the game isn't about solving problems. It's about keeping the game going. They keep you bouncing back and forth between two choices, so you never notice that neither one of them actually changes the fundamentals. The illusion of choice keeps you busy, while the reality of no choice keeps you stuck. And look at how they brand themselves. One party says they're for the working people, the other says they're for freedom. Great slogan. But then you look at the results. Working people are still broke and freedom still comes with a monthly bill. If either party actually did what they claimed, they wouldn't need to keep repeating it every 4 years. But they do, because it's not about results. It's about keeping you emotionally invested. You're not voting for policies, you're voting for feelings. You're voting for the team that makes you feel slightly less hopeless while they both rob you blind. And the funniest part, people actually believe it's life or death. They'll cut off family members and friendships, ruin Thanksgiving dinners, all over 2 brands owned by the same company. You've got people screaming at each other about who's worse, while the people running the show are sipping champagne together in the VIP lounge. They don't care who you voted for. They already won. The only loser is you for believing you had a choice in the first place. And they give you primaries too. Oh, that's their way of making you feel included, and to pick who represents your party. But the only people who survive the primaries are the ones with money. Lots of money. You don't get fresh ideas. You get pre-approved candidates who've already kissed enough rings to make it to the main stage. And you're supposed to feel proud for choosing between the leftovers they put on your plate. You're like a kid at dinner. Eat your vegetables. Oh, but I don't like broccoli. Oh well, too bad, that's all you're getting. And don't you love how they argue about tiny differences just to keep the illusion alive? We disagree about tax rates by 2%. Wow, groundbreaking. Meanwhile, both parties agree that war is good, corporations need subsidies, and the rich deserve loopholes. But they'll keep you fighting over the scraps so you never realize the big stuff is off limits. They'll let you argue about whether the minimum wage should be $10 or $12, while billionaires make $10 million an hour. That's the illusion. You get to feel like you're debating something important, but the real game is happening way above your pay grade. And of course, the media amplifies it. They turn the 2 choices into life and death battles. The nation's future depends on this. No, it doesn't. The nation's future is already decided by the lobbyists who wrote the laws 6 months ago. The election is just the halftime show. They make it flashy. They make it dramatic. They keep you hooked. But the outcome is always the same. The people who already had power keep it. And you get to feel like you participated in history, even though nothing changed. And people say, oh well, if you don't like it, start your own party. Oh, sure. Because the system is totally designed to let new parties thrive, right? You've seen what happens. The third parties get ignored, mocked, or buried under ballot rules so complicated you'd need a PhD just to file the paperwork. The system is designed to funnel everything back into the same 2 boxes. It's like trying to bring a new toy into the sandbox, and the bullies immediately throw it out. No, you can only play with our toys. And you keep playing, because what else are you gonna do? So the illusion keeps rolling on. 2 choices, no difference. Every 4 years, the nation lines up, convinced they're about to make history. They pull the lever, they pat themselves on the back, and they wait for change. And change never comes, because the choice wasn't real to begin with. You were voting between 2 pre-selected options, both owned by the same interests, both working toward the same goals, both laughing at you for believing it mattered. And that's the sick genius of it. They don't need to control you with force, they control you with illusion. They convince you that your voice matters, your vote counts, your choice is real. And you believe it, you defend it. You fight over it, you stake your identity on it. And all the while they're cashing checks and writing laws that screw you no matter which box you checked. That's the illusion of choice. The game where you can't win, but you keep playing anyway. Because in the end, you're not choosing the future. You're choosing the flavor of the lie you're most comfortable swallowing. And either way, The people who actually run things don't care because they're already in charge. And you're just the audience at the circus cheering for your favorite act in a show where the ending never changes. You ever notice how they sell voting to you like it's the ultimate prize in the democracy raffle? Like it's the grand finale, the big payoff for being a good little citizen. You get to participate. You get a say in your government. And what do they give you for all this sacred responsibility? A sticker. A goddamn sticker. You wait in line for 2 hours, fill out a form, hand it in, and your reward is a paper circle with glue on the back. I voted. That's it. They don't even give you a free sandwich. I've been to Subway and gotten more for less effort. And everybody walks around with their little sticker, all proud, like they just cured cancer. They post selfies. They show it off like it's an Olympic medal. Oh, look at me. I participated in democracy. Oh, congratulations. You filled out paperwork. You're a hero. You're basically Rosa Parks now. Never mind the fact that your vote went into a giant machine designed to swallow it whole and spit out the same result no matter what. But hey, you've got the sticker, so you're part of history. That's the scam right there. They convince you that putting an X in a box once every 4 years makes you powerful. You have a voice. No, you don't. You have the illusion of a voice. Your voice is like singing karaoke in a soundproof booth. You're singing your heart out, but nobody's listening, nobody cares, and the track is already pre-recorded. But you feel good doing it, and that's the point. They don't need you to change anything, they just need you to feel like you're included in the show. And the show is elaborate. Oh, they make a big deal out of it. Campaign ads, rallies, debates, conventions, it's a spectacle. They hype it up like it's the Super Bowl. Who will win? Who will? Who will dominate in Ohio? They break it down with charts, graphs, polls, predictions. They've got political analysts who act like sports commentators. Well, if he takes Pennsylvania and carries Florida, he's got a path to victory. A path to victory? What is this, the playoffs? You're not analyzing democracy, you're running a fantasy football league with worse haircuts. And the whole time, you think you're participating. You're sitting there on election night with your pizza, glued to the TV, cheering when your color wins a state, booing when it loses one. You've got maps, you've got apps, you've got watch parties. And at the end of the night, the result comes in, and what changes? Nothing. You go to bed, you wake up, you go to work, you pay your bills, and the same people still run everything. But you felt like part of the action, and that's the only thing that matters to them. And they make it sound noble, too. It's your civic duty. People died for this, right? Yeah, people died for a lot of things. Doesn't mean the current version is worth much. People died for prohibition too. Doesn't mean banning beer was a good idea. They throw guilt at you like confetti. If you don't vote, you can't complain. Oh, really? I think if I don't vote, I have more right to complain. Because I didn't buy a ticket to the scam. You bought the ticket, you watched the show. You clapped, and now you're disappointed. That's on you. And the funny thing is, they don't even need your vote to keep the system running. The big decisions aren't on the ballot. You don't get to vote on wars or bailouts or corporate tax breaks. You don't get to vote on whether the banks steal your money or whether your job gets shipped overseas or whether billionaires pay zero in taxes. No, you get to vote on personalities. You get to choose which smiling liar gets to announce the bad news to you. It's like picking your executioner. You don't get to stop the execution, you just get to decide who swings the axe. And every time someone says, but every vote counts, I want to laugh. Every vote counts. Not really. Not when the electoral system is designed to ignore half the people. You can win the popular vote and still lose the election. That's not democracy. That's a rigged carnival game. It's like rolling dice where the house decides what numbers matter. Oh, you rolled a 7? Sorry in this state, 7s don't count. Better luck next time. But hey, you tried. Here's your sticker. And let's not forget about gerrymandering. Oh, that's a fun little trick. They carve up districts like it's a jigsaw puzzle drawn by a drunk toddler. They slice, dice, and rearrange neighborhoods until the outcomes are basically predetermined. But you still go in there all proud thinking you're making a difference. I cast my ballot. Yeah, and it went straight into the shredder of political engineering. But thanks for playing. And then there's the voter suppression circus. They close polling places, purge voter rolls, make people wait in line for 10 hours. And somehow you're still supposed to believe it's a fair process. People standing in the rain for half a day just to press a button on a screen that was programmed by the lowest bidder. And if the machine breaks, too bad if your name's misspelled on the roll. Too bad if your ballot gets a loster. Too bad. But hey, you participated, right? You should feel proud. It's not just voting either. They give you surveys, petitions, town halls, all designed to make you feel heard. Tell us your opinion, it matters to us. Sure it does. They file your survey in the same folder as Santa Claus letters. They nod politely at the town hall, then go right back to doing whatever the donors told them to do. But you leave feeling good like you spoke your truth. That's the scam. They don't care about the truth, they care about keeping you calm. And the kicker, people defend the system. They'll fight you tooth and nail if you criticize it. You don't believe in democracy. No, I don't believe in this democracy. This is democracy the same way instant ramen is fine dining. It's technically food, but you're not fooling anybody. People cling to the ritual because it gives their lives meaning. Without it, they'd have to face the fact that they don't really control anything. And that's too scary, so they hang on to the sticker like it's the last rope holding them up. And it's all theater. Every election cycle is just another season of the same show. Different actors, same plot, same ending. You already know who wins. The rich, the powerful, the corporations. You already know who loses, you. But they keep you watching, keep you voting, keep you believing you're part of it. Because if you ever stop believing, the whole thing would fall apart. The scam only works if you play along. And play along you do proudly with your little sticker. So don't kid yourself. Voting isn't power. Voting is participation in a pageant. It's clapping for the performers while the real bosses count the money backstage. You're not changing the script, you're just filling the seats. That's a scam. That's a scam. They make you believe you're part of democracy when really you're just part of the audience. Because at the end of the day, the house lights come up, the curtain falls, and the show moves on. And you're left with a sticker and the faint memory of thinking you mattered. That's all it ever was, the audience participation scam. You know what always cracks me up? People actually believe the politicians are in charge. Like these clowns are running anything. Please. That's the greatest joke of the whole circus. These guys aren't calling the shots, they're not even allowed to touch the steering wheel. They're like the substitute teacher in middle school. The kids are throwing spitballs, lighting fires, and the substitute just keeps writing a quiet please on the board, pretending they're in control. Meanwhile, the principal, the school board, and the guy who owns the textbook company are the ones running the place. That's your government, a room full of subs taking orders from the real bosses. And who are the real bosses? Not you. Not me. Not the people who wave their little flags on the 4th of July, grilling hot dogs and talking about freedom. No, the real bosses are the ones you never see. The ones who don't need campaign buttons or bumper stickers. The corporations, the banks, the billionaires, the people who sit behind closed doors and pull the strings while the politicians smile for the cameras. Those are the ringmasters. They own the tent, they own the elephants, and they own the elephants, and they own the goddamn peanuts, too. Think about it. Every politician you've ever voted for had to raise millions of dollars just to get on the stage. Where do you think that money comes from? It's not coming from bake sales and lemonade stands. It's coming from the people who already have everything. The corporations, the hedge funds, the lobbyists, they write the checks, and in return, they write the laws. And the politicians? They're just the delivery boys. You don't get legislation, you get corporate pizza. Here's your new tax code, sir. Extra loopholes. No accountability. Just the way you like it. And the funny part is, they don't even bother to hide it. They literally put the lobbyists in the offices. You ever read those bills they pass? Of course not, nobody does. But if you did, you'd see they're written by the very industries they're supposed to regulate. The oil companies write the energy bills. The banks write the finance bills. The drug companies write the healthcare bills. It's like letting the fox write the rules for the chicken coop. Rule number 1, foxes get first pick. Rule number 2, no chicken's allowed to complain. And the politicians just nod and sign it because, hey, they've got donors to please. And people still think they're choosing leaders. Leaders? These guys couldn't lead a conga line. They're employees. They work for the guys with the checkbooks. And those guys, they don't care about you. They don't even see you. You're not a citizen, you're a revenue stream. You're a walking ATM that spits out rent, taxes, and credit card payments. And the ringmasters sit there in their luxury suites, sipping champagne, watching the circus play out, laughing their asses off. Because they know they've got you hooked. And the media. Oh, don't even get me started on the media. They're the hype men for the circus. Their job isn't to inform you. It's to keep you entertained, distracted, and scared just enough to keep tuning in. They tell you what to worry about, who to blame, and who to cheer for. And all the while, their commercial breaks are brought to you by the same corporations that own the politicians. Pharmaceutical ads, oil company ads, insurance company ads. It's not journalism, it's product placement. They should put a logo in the corner of the screen like it's NASCAR. This debate is brought to you by ExxonMobil and Pfizer. Now back to the puppet show, and people still think they're free. Free? You're not free, you're managed. You're herded like cattle. They tell you where to go, what to think, and when to clap. You think you're making choices, but your choices were already laid out for you. Coke or Pepsi? Democrat or Republican? iPhone or Android? Doesn't matter what you pick. The same handful of companies still own everything. That's the beauty of the scam. They let you feel like you've got options while making sure every option leads back to them. And look at how deep it goes. Every industry has its hand in your pocket. Banks own your debt. Landlords own your shelter. Pharma owns your health. Telecom owns your communication. Tech owns your information. Agribusiness owns your food. You think you're shopping at a grocery store, but you're just walking through their supply chain, paying rent on the calories they let you have. And every dollar you spend circles back to the same boardrooms. You don't even need to call it capitalism anymore. It's feudalism with better branding. And the funniest part? People still argue about politicians like it matters. They'll fight to the death over which puppet has the better smile. Are my guy's gonna fix healthcare? No, he's not. Are you guys gonna fix the economy? No, he's not. None of them are gonna fix anything because broken is the business model. Broken keeps you dependent. Broken keeps you desperate. Broken keeps you working 2 jobs, maxing out your credit cards, praying for a tax refund like it's Christmas morning. And while you're scrambling to make ends meet, the ringmasters are busy counting profits and planning the next bailout. And let's talk about bailouts. That's their favorite trick. They run the casino, they rig the game, they pocket the winnings, and when it all goes bust, they send you the bill. Hey, sorry folks, we're too big to fail. You're gonna have to pay for our mistakes. And you do. Because what choice do you have? You can't shut them down, you can't vote them out, you can't even see them. They're untouchable, the politicians. Oh, they'll take the heat for it, but the ringmasters keep cashing in. They never lose. And while all this is going on, what do they give you? Distractions, entertainment, bread and circuses, just like the Romans, sports, reality TV, celebrity gossip. They keep you busy arguing about nonsense while they rob you blind. You're screaming at your neighbor about pronouns, while they're quietly transferring another $1 trillion to offshore accounts. You're debating masks, they're buying another yacht. You're yelling about gas stoves, they're rewriting the tax code. And you don't notice because they're masters of misdirection. The left hand waves the flag while the right hand empties your pockets. And the best part? They've got you defending them. That's the genius of it. People actually defend billionaires. They don't tax the rich. They worked hard for that. Money? Oh yeah. They worked hard. How many 12-hour shifts did Jeff Bezos pull at the warehouse? How many Uber rides did Elon Musk drive? None. But somehow people will go to bat for these guys like their family. Meanwhile, those same billionaires wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. Unless, of course, they could bottle it and sell it as artisanal billionaire urine for $49.99 a liter. And the circus keeps rolling. Because as long as you believe the show, they win. As long as you think your vote is changing things, they win. As long as you fight over red versus blue, they win. As long as you're glued to the screen, distracted by the noise, they win. Because the real ringmasters aren't on stage. They're not giving speeches, they're not kissing babies. They're behind the curtain counting the money, writing the script, and making sure the show goes on. So remember this, the next time you're cheering for your favorite politician, waving your little flag, sticking your I voted sticker on your chest like it means something. Remember who owns the tent, who owns the animals, who owns the performers, who owns you. Because the circus isn't about the clowns. The circus is about the ringmasters. And they always get the last laugh. You ever notice how every war starts with rich men in suits sitting around a table, and it ends with poor kids in uniforms lying in a box? That's the arrangement, folks. The guys with the power and the money, they never fight. Oh no, they just point, and your son, your brother, your husband, your neighbor, that's who gets shipped off. Because war is a game of chess, and the pawns, they're always the first to go. They tell you it's about freedom, democracy, protecting your country. Bullshit. It's about contracts, resources, and keeping the machine running. Oil, land, weapons sales. Follow the money, not the flag. The flag's just there to distract you. Wrap death in patriotism and suddenly it looks noble. I died for his country. No, he died for somebody's stock portfolio. And don't you love how the same people who send you to war will call you a hero when you come back missing half your body? I thank you for your service. What service? Getting blown up so a senator's friend at the weapons factory can buy another yacht? Yeah. You're not a hero to them. You're a cost of doing business. And the funerals, they roll out the flag, play a bugle, salute, fold the cloth into a neat triangle, hand it to your crying mother, and call it honor. Meanwhile, the people who started the whole mess are out at a golf course celebrating their next deal. Rich man's game. Poor man's funeral. That's the truth, and you won't hear it on CNN. Because guess who pays for the commercials? The same guys making the bombs. So the next time you see the drums of war beating, remember this. The people who are banging those drums are never the ones who will carry the casket. You ever notice how every time they start talking about war, it's always dressed up in these big, shiny words? A freedom, a democracy, a defending our way of life. They sell it to you like it's a clearance sale on patriotism. But if you peel back all the fancy wrapping, what do you find? Business. Cold, hard, ugly business. Because war has never been about freedom or democracy. Those are just the slogans they slap on the box. The real game is money, contracts, resources, and keeping the right people rich. That's it. That's all it's ever been. You think they're sending kids halfway around the world to protect your freedom? Are you out of your mind? You already have more freedom than you know what to do with. What you don't have is control over oil, minerals, shipping routes, or arms deals. That's what they're fighting for. Your government doesn't give a damn about democracy in some desert or jungle. They care about pipelines, access, leverage, and making sure their corporate buddies can keep squeezing every last dollar out of every corner of the globe. Look at the history books. Every war you can name, if you scratch hard enough, you'll find a ledger underneath. Somebody got paid. Somebody made a killing, literally and financially. Cannons, planes, bombs, uniforms, boots, even the food they serve the soldiers, it all comes from somebody's company. And those companies don't care if you win or lose the war. They care that the invoices get paid. War is the only business where losing is just as profitable as winning. Maybe more. Because if you lose, they just gear up for another war. They sell weapons to both sides sometimes. Isn't that cute? Imagine running a bakery and you sell cakes to two families that hate each other. Then you sit back and watch them throw the cakes at each other. And then they both come back to buy more cakes. That's the arms business, and not a secret. The same governments screaming about evil regimes are often the ones selling them the weapons last year. Then when those weapons get turned around and pointed the other way, suddenly it's a crisis. Oh no, we better start another war. Better start another war. How convenient. And while all this is happening, you're at home watching television, being spoon-fed slogans and flag-waving commercials. They show you soldiers hugging their kids, jets flying over football games, a flag rippling in the wind, and you're supposed to feel proud. Proud of what? That you're funding billionaires who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. The whole point of the show is to keep you from asking the one question that blows the whole scam wide open. Who's making money off this war? Because once you start following the money, the noble cause starts to look like a sales pitch. They've got defense contractors, lobbyists, senators, presidents, all in the same room carving up the pie. They call it the defense budget. Defense, isn't that adorable? If you're the one starting half the wars, maybe you should call it the offense budget. And it's not just billions, it's trillions. Money you'll never see, money that could have gone to your schools, your hospitals, your roads, your lives. But no, it went into bombs and bullets because some CEO needed to meet his quarterly earnings target. That's what your taxes are funding. Not freedom, not democracy, a goddamn business deal. You think those generals and politicians give a damn about democracy? If they cared so much about democracy, they'd protect it at home, where it's rotting like an old apple. They don't, because democracy doesn't pay, war does. And you know what's even better for business than war? Endless war. Wars with no finish line, no victory parade, no surrender ceremony. Just one long drawn-out conflict that can be milked forever. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. 20 years of a stabilization, 20 years of contracts. 20 years of money flowing in while bodies flow out. And the beauty of it is they figured out how to make the victims cheer for it. They wave the flag, play the anthem, call anyone who questions it unpatriotic. That's the trick. They get the very people being screwed to defend the screwers. You support the troops. You ever notice how "who support the troops" always means you support the war? They never separate the two. Why? Because if you support the troops but not the war, that's bad for business. They need you emotionally invested so you won't ask the wrong questions. And the wrong questions are always the simplest, like, if this war is about freedom, why are the companies making weapons stocks skyrocketing? If this war is about democracy, why are the same corrupt bastards still running things after the dust settles? If this war is about protecting people, why do so many civilians end up dead? The answers are ugly, and they don't want you hearing them. That's why they wrap it all in red, white, and blue. Because once you cover greed with patriotism, you can sell anything. They've been doing it forever. From ancient kings sending peasants to die for gold, to modern presidents sending soldiers to die for oil. Oil, the language changes, but the business stays the same. Back then, it was a God wills it. Now it's a freedom and democracy. Same scam, different slogan, and people fall for it every single time. Because they don't teach you to question it. They teach you to salute, to pledge, to obey, to trust the people in charge. Meanwhile, the people in charge are cashing checks written in blood. And here's the kicker. The rich men who start the wars, they never fight in them. Not their kids, not their families. No, sir. Their kids are in Ivy League schools, hedge funds, cushy internships. Your kids are in desert heat with a rifle. Their sons are on yachts. Your sons are in coffins. That's how the business works. The people who profit never pay the price, and the people who pay the price never profit. That's war, folks. Not freedom, not democracy. Business. Ugly, bloody billion-dollar business. You ever notice how the people who make the decision to go to war are never the ones who actually go? Isn't that funny? All those senators, presidents, and defense contractors sitting in their big leather chairs, pointing at maps with sticks, deciding who's gonna die, and somehow it's never them. It's never their kids. It's never their nephews. It's never their nephews. It's never the family name on the casualty list. No, it's always some kid from a small town who joined the military because he couldn't afford college, or some young woman who got promised a future and ended up with a folded flag. That's the way it works. Rich men create the war, poor men fight it, and poor families bury their children when it's over. They sell it to you like it's a noble sacrifice. He died defending his country. No, he didn't. He died defending their investments. He died protecting their business deals. He died so somebody who already had more money than God could have even more. You think your kid died for democracy? Get real. He died because some politician needed to look tough, or some weapons company needed to hit its sales target. That's the ugly truth, but you won't hear it at the funeral. At the funeral, you get a priest talking about honor, a general giving a speech about bravery, and a flag wrapped up like a consolation prize. And the poor keep buying into it generation after generation. They sign up because they're told it's the right thing to do, or because there aren't many options left. They're told it'll make their family proud. What it really does is make their family grieve. Rich kids? They don't need the military. They've got trust funds and interns at daddy's company. Poor kids, they get the recruiter at the mall promising glory, benefits, and a ticket out of poverty. They don't mention the fine print about body bags. You think it's a coincidence that the majority of soldiers come from working-class backgrounds? Of course not. The system is designed that way. They keep the schools underfunded. They keep jobs scarce. They keep wages low. And then they dangle the military as the one opportunity for advancement. They lure you in with promises of college money, health care, a steady paycheck. But the real payoff isn't for you, it's for them. They get your body, your labor, your blood, while the rich keep their hands clean. And when you come back, if you come back, it's not like you're set for life. No, you're discarded like old equipment. You might get a parade, a pat on the back, maybe a medal if you're lucky. But you also get PTSD, missing limbs, no job prospects, and a government that suddenly forgets you exist. You notice how they're always waving flags and shouting who support the troops during the war, but when the troops actually need support, like medical care or housing, suddenly the money's not there. Isn't that interesting? They had trillions for bombs, but not enough for prosthetics. They had billions for tanks, but not enough for mental health care. Because once you're done being useful, you're not profitable anymore. Meanwhile, the families of the fallen are left with a piece of cloth and a lifetime of pain. The generals and CEOs don't visit them. The senators don't come by to apologize. Nobody writes a letter saying, "Sorry your son died so Lockheed Martin could have a record quarter." No, they wrap it up in words like a sacrifice and honor so you won't notice the theft. They've stolen your child's life and sold it on the open market, and they expect you to thank them for it. And let's talk about who the poor are. It's not just working-class kids. It's immigrants, minorities, people who already had the deck stacked against them. They get recruited hard. They get told, serve this country and you'll belong. Then they go off, fight, die, and when their families are left behind, they're treated like second-class citizens. That's patriotism for you. Use the poor, use the marginalized, use the desperate, and then dump them once they're no longer useful. And the cycle never ends. Because every new war creates new cemeteries full of poor people's kids, while the rich toast champagne at the victory party. They get their profits, their contracts, their resources, and the poor get another folded flag. And the saddest part is, the poor are the ones who keep falling for it. They keep sending their children, believing the lies, hoping this time it'll be different. It never is. Because war isn't designed for the poor to win. It's designed for the rich to win, and the poor to lose everything. Rich men create the mess. Poor men clean it up with their blood. That's been the story since the beginning of civilization, and it hasn't changed. And it hasn't changed. It's not about courage or sacrifice or honor. It's about the same old scam. They play the game, and you pay for it with your body, with your future, with your children. You ever notice how every war gets dressed up in the same costume? They roll out the flags, the anthems, the parades, the speeches. They wrap the whole thing in so much red, white, and blue you forget there's blood underneath. That's the trick. Patriotism is the camouflage. Without it, war would just look like what it really is. A slaughterhouse run by greedy men in suits. But when you put a flag on it, when you call it a service or honor, suddenly people swallow it like it's medicine. They take something ugly, dress it up with music and slogans, and it goes down easier. You think they really care about patriotism? Come on! They care about selling it to you, because patriotism is the sugar that makes the poison taste sweet. Every time they want to start another war, out come the same lines. Our freedom is at stake. We must defend our way of life. If we don't fight them over there, we'll have to fight them here. It's like a broken record. And people believe it because they've been trained from childhood to stand up for a flag, sing an anthem, and pledge allegiance without ever asking, who benefits from this? Flags are powerful symbols. That's why they wave them so much. Now, you put a flag in front of anything and suddenly people stop thinking. You can put a flag on a coffin and people will cry and call it noble instead of asking why the kid inside is dead in the first place. You can put a flag on a missile and people will cheer it leaving the launch pad. Never mind who's going to be on the receiving end. It's all about the symbol. They've learned that as long as you wave the right colors, people won't look too closely at the blood. And let's talk about that word, a hero. Isn't it amazing how generous they are with that word when someone dies in uniform? They didn't care about you when you were alive, but once you're gone, you're a hero. That's convenient, isn't it? Dead people don't ask questions. Dead people don't demand benefits. Dead people don't come home and wonder why their sacrifice bought someone else a mansion. Alive, you're a worker bee. Dead, you're a hero. And they'll put your name on a plaque, carve it into a stone. Maybe even name a highway after you. That's the bargain. Your life for their symbolism. And the anthem, don't get me started. Isn't it funny how they always play the anthem at sports games, at parades, at schools, and of course at military funerals? The song is everywhere, drilled into your head so you connect it to pride and honor. But what is it really? It's a loyalty test. It's conditioning. You stand up, you put your hand on your heart, and you stop thinking. You stop questioning. You're not supposed to ask why your kid came home in a box. You're supposed to salute while they lower the coffin. The anthem plays, the flag waves, the bugle sounds, and you're too busy crying to notice you've been robbed. They even call wars operations or campaigns, like it's a marketing project. Operation Freedom, Operation Justice, Operation something patriotic. They never call it what it is. Operation Keep the Money Flowing, because that wouldn't sell. That wouldn't make people feel proud. They know patriotism is a product and they sell it to you in uniform slogans, songs, and ceremonies. And you buy it over and over again with your taxes and your children's lives. And what happens if you don't buy it? If you dare to say, maybe this war isn't about freedom? Huh? Suddenly you're unpatriotic. You don't support the troops. You're a traitor. Isn't that convenient? They make questioning the scam itself sound like treason. That's how powerful the disguise is. It makes ordinary people defend the very system that's exploiting them. They'll wave the flag harder, sing the anthem louder, and shout down anyone who points out the obvious. That patriotism is being used to sell death. You see it every time a war starts. First, the speeches about threats and enemies. Then the parades of soldiers with flags. Then the songs, the slogans, the bumper stickers to support our troops. It's always the same script and people fall for it because they've been trained to associate patriotism with obedience. Real patriotism would be asking why your leaders keep throwing your kids into meat grinders while they sit safely at home. Real patriotism would be protecting the people, not sacrificing them. But that doesn't make money. What makes money is fake patriotism. The kind that shuts your brain off and opens your wallet. The kind that convinces you to send your children to fight wars they'll never benefit from. The kind that tells you to accept sacrifice while billionaires get richer. They don't need your thinking, they need your loyalty. And the best way to get it is with a flag, an anthem, and a few magic words. Honor, freedom, hero. Those words are like the strings on a puppet and you dance every time they're pulled. And here's the part they never say out loud. They don't actually care about the flag, or the anthem, or the soldiers. They care about control. Patriotism is the leash. It keeps you in line while they rob you blind. And when the war is over, when the speeches are done and the coffins are in the ground, they move on to the next project, the next investment, the next scheme. But the flag is still there, waving ready to disguise the next round of greed. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty simple. War isn't about freedom, it's not about democracy, it's not about protecting you. It's about business. Rich men playing games with contracts, weapons, and resources, while the poor provide the bodies to keep it running. Nah, they dress it up with flags, anthems, and words like a hero and a sacrifice so you won't notice the scam. But the scam is always the same. They profit, you bleed, they wave the colors, you dig the graves. And until people start seeing through the disguise, the game will keep going. Rich men's game, poor men's funeral. That's the truth, folks, and it ain't pretty, but at least it's honest. Control in society does not always come from chains, prisons, or outright oppression. In fact, the most effective form of control is not physical, but psychological. And it works best when people do not realize they are being controlled at all. This is the genius of illusion. When people believe they are free, when they believe they are making choices for themselves, when they believe the system is working in their favor, they are less likely to resist or rebel. They go along willingly, not because they are forced, but because they are convinced. The American dream operates as this illusion, offering a shining picture of possibility and prosperity that distracts from the reality of exploitation and inequality. This illusion is crafted and maintained with great precision. It starts with the stories we are told as children. Anyone can become anything, opportunities are endless. Success is guaranteed to those who work for it. These narratives are repeated in classrooms, in television shows, in movies, in commercials, and in the speeches of leaders. They create a cultural mythology where personal responsibility is emphasized above all else, and structural injustice is either ignored or denied. If you fail, the story says it's your fault. If you succeed, it's proof the dream is real. This illusion turns individuals into self-policing agents of the system, constantly measuring themselves against an impossible standard while blaming themselves for outcomes that were predetermined by forces far beyond their control. The media plays a central role in reinforcing this illusion. News outlets and entertainment channels alike focus on stories of individuals who have made it against the odds. The poor kid who became a billionaire, the immigrant who built an empire, the lottery winner, who went from rags to riches. These stories are elevated as proof that the system works. But what is hidden is that these are exceptions, not rules. For every one person who climbs that ladder, there are millions who are left at the bottom, trapped in cycles of poverty, debt, and exploitation. The illusion thrives by spotlighting the rare outliers while keeping the struggles of the majority in the shadows. Advertising is a powerful tool of illusion. Corporations spend billions crafting messages that sell not just products, but lifestyles and identity. They convince people that happiness, freedom, and fulfillment can be bought, that the right car, the right phone, the right clothing will bring them closer to the dream. By tying self-worth to consumption, the system ensures that people keep working, keep spending, and keep fueling the machine, all while believing they are exercising free choice. In reality, those choices are carefully engineered, shaped by marketing psychology, and constrained by what corporations allow to exist in the marketplace. You may think you are choosing freely between 10 different brands, but often those brands are owned by the same handful of conglomerates that dominate the entire industry. Politics functions as one of the grandest illusions of all. Citizens are told they live in a democracy where their voices matter, where their votes determine the future. They are encouraged to pick between candidates, to debate passionately, to invest their hopes in campaigns that promise change. Yet the choices are usually limited to two sides of the same coin, both funded by the same corporate donors, both bound by the same economic interests. The illusion of choice keeps people engaged, keeps them feeling like participants, while the real decisions are made in backrooms by lobbyists, think tanks, and powerful elites. The theater of elections serves to channel dissent, to absorb public frustration, and to redirect it into safe, manageable outlets. People believe they are holding power accountable, when in truth they are being managed by a system that has already predetermined the outcome. The workplace is another arena where illusion thrives. Workers are told they are part of a team, that their loyalty and effort will be rewarded, that promotions and raises are within their reach if they just give enough of themselves. They are told their company is a family, that hard work will be recognized. Yet in reality, many of these workers are expendable, easily replaced, and kept just comfortable enough to avoid revolt, but never secure enough to question the system deeply. Stockholders reap the profits, executives collect bonuses, while workers are pacified with slogans, empty praise, and promises that rarely materialize. The illusion of upward mobility within corporations is one of the most effective tools to keep people working harder and harder without realizing they are climbing a ladder that leads nowhere. Religion and culture can also be harnessed to maintain illusion. Belief systems that emphasize patience, obedience, or rewards in the afterlife can make people more willing to endure hardship in the present. Cultural values that glorify sacrifice, perseverance, and humility can be twisted into justifications for inequality. When people believe their suffering has meaning, when they believe their poverty is noble, when they believe their obedience is virtuous, they are less likely to challenge the structures that create and maintain that suffering. The illusion becomes spiritualized, embedded so deeply that to question it feels like questioning the very foundations of existence. Technology in modern times has intensified the illusion in unprecedented ways. Social media platforms create echo chambers where people are fed carefully curated content designed to keep them distracted, entertained, and emotionally invested in superficial conflicts. Algorithms manipulate attention, ensuring that people spend hours scrolling through images of wealth, beauty, and success that reinforce feelings of inadequacy. This constant exposure fuels the illusion that everyone else is thriving, that everyone else is closer to the dream, while the individual feels left behind. Instead of recognizing systemic problems, people internalize the illusion, believing they alone are failing while others succeed. The truth, that most are struggling in similar ways, is obscured by the constant flood of curated realities designed to keep people isolated in their insecurities. The illusion also thrives on division. People are encouraged to fight over race, religion, political affiliation, cultural identity, and personal choices. By stoking these divisions, the powerful ensure that people focus their energy on battling each other instead of questioning the system itself. The illusion convinces people that their enemies are their neighbors, that their struggles are caused by immigrants, minorities, or political opponents, when in fact the real enemy is the structure that exploits them all. As long as people remain distracted by artificial conflicts, the machinery of exploitation can continue unchecked. One of the most dangerous aspects of control through illusion is how it normalizes injustice. When people are exposed to inequality long enough, they begin to accept it as natural. Homelessness becomes background noise, poverty becomes invisible, exploitation becomes just the way things are. The illusion convinces people that suffering is inevitable, that it is part of life, and that nothing can be done to change it. This normalization ensures stability for those in power, because people stop questioning what they come to see as ordinary. Perhaps the most insidious quality of illusion is that it is self-sustaining. Once people buy into it, they become its defenders. They repeat the slogans, enforce the rules, shame those who question it, and celebrate the symbols of the system. The exploited become agents of their own exploitation, teaching their children to follow the same path, punishing those who stray from it, and believing sincerely that they are free while bound in invisible chains. Control through illusion is so effective because it requires no overseer, no constant threat of punishment. People willingly uphold it, proudly proclaiming their allegiance to a dream that was never real in the first place. Control in society does not always come from chains, prisons, or outright oppression. In fact, the most effective form of control is not physical, but psychological. And it works best when people do not realize they are being controlled at all. This is the genius of illusion. When people believe they are free, when they believe they are making choices for themselves, when they believe the system is working in their favor, they are less likely to resist or rebel. They go along willingly, not because they are forced, but because they are convinced. The American dream operates as this illusion, offering a shining picture of possibility and prosperity that distracts from the reality of exploitation and inequality. This illusion is crafted and maintained with great precision. It starts with the stories we are told as children. Anyone can become anything, opportunities are endless. Success is guaranteed to those who work for it. These narratives are repeated in classrooms, in television shows, in movies, in commercials, and in the speeches of leaders. They create a cultural mythology where personal responsibility is emphasized above all else, and structural injustice is either ignored or denied. If you fail, the story says it's your fault. If you succeed, it's proof the dream is real. This illusion turns individuals into self-policing agents of the system, constantly measuring themselves against an impossible standard while blaming themselves for outcomes that were predetermined by forces far beyond their control. The media plays a central role in reinforcing this illusion. News outlets and entertainment channels alike focus on stories of individuals who have made it against the odds. The poor kid who became a billionaire, the immigrant who built an empire, the lottery winner, who went from rags to riches, These stories are elevated as proof that the system works. But what is hidden is that these are exceptions, not rules. For every one person who climbs that ladder, there are millions who are left at the bottom, trapped in cycles of poverty, debt, and exploitation. The illusion thrives by spotlighting the rare outliers while keeping the struggles of the majority in the shadows. Advertising is a powerful tool of illusion. Corporations spend billions crafting messages that sell not just products, but lifestyles and identity. They convince people that happiness, freedom, and fulfillment can be bought, that the right car, the right phone, the right clothing will bring them closer to the dream. By tying self-worth to consumption, the system ensures that people keep working, keep spending, and keep fueling the machine, all while believing they are exercising free choice. In reality, those choices are carefully engineered, shaped by marketing psychology, and constrained by what corporations allow to exist in the marketplace. You may think you are choosing freely between 10 different brands, but often those brands are owned by the same handful of conglomerates that dominate the entire industry. Politics functions as one of the grandest illusions of all. Citizens are told they live in a democracy where their voices matter, where their votes determine the future. They are encouraged to pick between candidates, to debate passionately, to invest their hopes in campaigns that promise change. Yet the choices are usually limited to two sides of the same coin, both funded by the same corporate donors, both bound by the same economic interests. The illusion of choice keeps people engaged, keeps them feeling like participants, while the real decisions are made in backrooms by lobbyists, think tanks, and powerful elites. The theater of elections serves to channel dissent, to absorb public frustration, and to redirect it into safe, manageable outlets. People believe they are holding power accountable when in truth they are being managed by a system that has already predetermined the outcome. The workplace is another arena where illusion thrives. Workers are told they are part of a team, that their loyalty and effort will be rewarded, that promotions and raises are within their reach if they just give enough of themselves. They are told their company is a family, that hard work will be recognized. Yet in reality, many of these workers are expendable, easily replaced, and kept just comfortable enough to avoid revolt, but never secure enough to question the system deeply. Stockholders reap the profits, executives collect bonuses, while workers are pacified with slogans, empty praise, and promises that rarely materialize. The illusion of upward mobility within corporations is one of the most effective tools to keep people working harder and harder without realizing they are climbing a ladder that leads nowhere. Religion and culture can also be harnessed to maintain illusion. Belief systems that emphasize patience, obedience, or rewards in the afterlife can make people more willing to endure hardship in the present. Cultural values that glorify sacrifice, perseverance, and humility can be twisted into justifications for inequality. When people believe their suffering has meaning, when they believe their poverty is noble, when they believe their obedience is virtuous, they are less likely to challenge the structures that create and maintain that suffering. The illusion becomes spiritualized, embedded so deeply that to question it feels like questioning the very foundations of existence. Technology in modern times has intensified the illusion in unprecedented ways. Social media platforms create echo chambers where people are fed carefully curated content designed to keep them distracted, entertained, and emotionally invested in superficial conflicts. Algorithms manipulate attention, ensuring that people spend hours scrolling through images of wealth, beauty, and success that reinforce feelings of inadequacy. This constant exposure fuels the illusion that everyone else is thriving, that everyone else is closer to the dream, while the individual feels left behind. Instead of recognizing systemic problems, people internalize the illusion, believing they alone are failing while others succeed. The truth, that most are struggling in similar ways, is obscured by the constant flood of curated realities designed to keep people isolated in their insecurities. Illusion also thrives on division. People are encouraged to fight over race, religion, political affiliation, cultural identity, and personal choices. By stoking these divisions, the powerful ensure that people focus their energy on battling each other instead of questioning the system itself. The illusion convinces people that their enemies are their neighbors, that their struggles are caused by immigrants, minorities, or political opponents, when in fact the real enemy is the structure that exploits them all. As long as people remain distracted by artificial conflicts, the machinery of exploitation can continue unchecked. One of the most dangerous aspects of control through illusion is how it normalizes injustice. When people are exposed to inequality long enough, they begin to accept it as natural. Homelessness becomes background noise, poverty becomes invisible, exploitation becomes just the way things are. The illusion convinces people that suffering is inevitable, that it is part of life, and that nothing can be done to change it. This normalization ensures stability for those in power, because people stop questioning what they come to see as ordinary. Perhaps the most insidious quality of illusion is that it is self-sustaining. Once people buy into it, they become its defenders. They repeat the slogans, enforce the rules, shame those who question it, and celebrate the symbols of the system. The exploited become agents of their own exploitation, teaching their children to follow the same path, punishing those who stray from it, and believing sincerely that they are free while bound in invisible chains. Control through illusion is so effective because it requires no overseer, no constant threat of punishment. People willingly uphold it, proudly proclaiming their allegiance to a dream that was never real in the first place. Waking up is the most dangerous act in a society built on illusions, because once a person begins to see clearly, the spell is broken. The slogans no longer ring true, the promises lose their power, and the distractions no longer satisfy. To wake up is to pull back the curtain and see the machinery that operates behind the stage. It is to realize that the so-called American dream is not a promise, but a performance. A carefully staged production meant to keep people passive, obedient, and hopeful while their futures are quietly stolen. The act of questioning becomes the first step toward freedom, because it disrupts the silent agreement that allows the system to keep functioning. As long as people are asleep, the game runs smoothly. The moment they wake up, the cracks begin to show. Questioning is powerful because it forces the system to reveal itself. When people start asking why wages have stagnated for decades while corporate profits soar, the system can no longer hide behind empty rhetoric about opportunity. When they ask why healthcare is a commodity rather than a right, the comfortable lie about freedom of choice collapses. When they ask why the richest nation in history has millions living in poverty, the illusion of prosperity begins to unravel. The act of questioning shines light into the corners where power hides, and power hates exposure. It thrives in silence, in conformity, and distraction. But it withers under scrutiny because once people see the truth, they cannot unsee it. Waking up does not happen all at once. For many, it begins with small realizations. An unfair bill, a broken promise, a politician caught lying again, a company profiting from misery. These moments accumulate until the weight of them is too heavy to ignore. A person begins to feel the deep unease that comes from sensing that something is not right, that the story they've been told does not match the life they are living. That unease, though uncomfortable, is necessary, because it pushes them to ask questions they were trained never to ask. Why does the richest 1% control more wealth than half the planet? Why are wars fought endlessly while schools and hospitals fall apart? Why is justice so often for sale to the highest bidder? Each question chips away at the dream, exposing the nightmare that hides underneath. The process of waking up is often met with resistance, not only from the system itself, but from other people who are still asleep. Questioning the dream can make you an outcast, labeled as negative, unpatriotic, or even dangerous. People who are comfortable in their illusions will often defend them fiercely, because the alternative is too frightening. If the system is rigged, if the dream is false, then everything they believed in collapses. That collapse is terrifying. So many prefer to defend a lie rather than face the truth. Those who wake up find themselves swimming against the current, surrounded by friends, co-workers, and even family members who may not want to hear the uncomfortable truths. Yet the act of questioning must continue, because silence is complicity, and the future depends on breaking the cycle of illusion. When people wake up collectively, the system begins to tremble. History shows that every major movement for justice, every revolution, Every transformation began with questions. Why do kings rule over us? Why should slavery exist? Why should women be denied rights? Why should workers live in misery while owners live in luxury? These questions shattered illusions that had stood for centuries, and once enough people asked them, change became unstoppable. The present system is no different. The illusions may be modernized with technology, wrapped in corporate branding, and defended with slick political speeches, but they are still vulnerable to the simple power of people refusing to believe. The more people wake up, the less the illusion holds, until the stage lights dim and the machinery is exposed for all to see. Questioning is not just about tearing down illusions, but about imagining alternatives. Once a person realizes the game is rigged, they begin to ask, what would a fair game look like? What would an economy designed for people instead of corporations look like? What would healthcare look like if it truly served the sick instead of shareholders? What would democracy look like if it was not owned by money? These questions are dangerous because they plant seeds of possibility, and possibility is the enemy of control. If people believe there is no alternative, they remain compliant. If they begin to see another path, the system begins to lose its grip. The act of imagining is itself revolutionary because it opens a door that power desperately wants to keep closed. Waking up also means recognizing the subtle ways in which fear is used as a weapon. The system warns that questioning will lead to chaos, that rejecting the dream will lead to collapse, that challenging authority will only make life worse. People are told to be grateful for what they have, no matter how little, because the alternative is framed as catastrophe. Fear of losing what little security they possess keeps many people from asking hard questions. But once fear is confronted, once people see that the threat of chaos is often exaggerated or manufactured, the illusion loses another layer of control. The realization that life is already chaotic for millions, that collapse has already happened for countless families, makes the fear tactic less effective. People begin to see that the greater danger lies in doing nothing, in remaining asleep while their rights, freedoms, and futures are steadily eroded. The responsibility of waking up is heavy, because knowledge demands action. Once you see clearly, pretending to be asleep is no longer an option. Questioning must turn into speaking, speaking into organizing, into action. It may start small, with conversations, with books, with protests, with community building, but every action is a ripple that disrupts the illusion. Power relies on passivity, on the belief that individuals are too small to matter. But when individuals join together, when awakened people connect, the illusion cannot withstand the collective force. The system is strong, but it is not invincible. Its strength lies in deception, and deception crumbles under truth. At the heart of waking up is reclaiming dignity. To see through the illusion is to recognize your own worth, your own humanity, beyond what the system assigns to you. You are not just a worker, not just a consumer, not just a statistic in someone else's ledger. You are a human being with the right to question, to challenge, to demand better. Waking up affirms that you deserve more than survival, more than endless labor for the enrichment of others, more than empty promises that never come true. It reminds you that life is not meant to be lived chasing illusions, but to be lived fully, consciously, with awareness and courage. The dream only works as long as people sleep. But when people open their eyes, when they begin to see the rigging, the illusions, the lies, the balance of power shifts. Every question asked is a crack in the foundation. Every refusal to believe is a step toward liberation. Waking up does not guarantee easy answers, nor does it promise immediate change, but it is the necessary first step. Without it, the cycle of exploitation continues endlessly. With it, the possibility of something better, something real, begins to take shape. To wake up and to question is to reclaim the one power that cannot be taken away. The ability to see the truth and refuse to accept anything less. You ever notice how common sense used to be something everybody was supposed to have? It was like oxygen, free, everywhere, and you didn't have to pay a government fee to breathe it. But somewhere along the way, the people in charge decided, hey, common sense is dangerous. We better label it a threat. And just like that, boom, it's banned for national security. That's right. In today's world, using common sense is basically an act of rebellion. You think for yourself. You question something. You notice that the people running the country can't organize a sandwich, much less a society. Congratulations, you're now on some watch list. Because let's be honest, common sense is the biggest enemy of any government that runs on confusion, fear, and paperwork. If citizens start thinking clearly, these clowns might actually have to do their jobs. And we can't have that, can we? Just look around. Every sign, every rule, every policy. It's designed to replace common sense. They don't drink bleach. They do not iron clothes while wearing them. Their contents may be hot. This is what you get when the country treats adults like confused hamsters. And the government, oh, they love it. Because a population with no common sense is a population that won't question anything. They'll believe whatever slogan you put on a billboard. You can tell them, we're protecting your freedom by taking away your freedom. And they'll say, thank you, sir. Can I have another? Common sense says, if people in power keep screwing things up, maybe they're the problem. National security says, shh, don't say that, it's classified. Common sense says, if the system is broken, fix the system. National security says, no, let's fix the people who notice the system is broken. And my favorite, common sense says 2 + 2 is 4. Government says, well, that depends on the fiscal quarter. So here we are, living in a country where thinking clearly makes you suspicious, speaking honestly makes you dangerous, and asking questions makes you a criminal mastermind. Common sense didn't disappear. It was outlawed. Because nothing threatens the powerful more than a citizen who can see through the nonsense. Common sense being viewed as a threat isn't some accident. It's practically a government tradition at this point. The people in charge have always had a complicated relationship with citizens who actually think. They prefer citizens who react, citizens who follow, citizens who clap on command like trained seals waiting for a fish. But someone who stops and says, hold on a minute, that doesn't make any sense. That person becomes dangerous. Not because they're violent, not because they're rebellious, but because they can see the strings being pulled. Once you notice the strings, you stop dancing along with the puppet show. That scares the people who run the puppet show more than anything else. Common sense is the natural enemy of confusion, and confusion is the greatest tool ever invented by governments everywhere. Confuse people and you can control them. Keep them guessing, keep them fearful, keep them distracted, and you can get away with almost anything. But if people start to think clearly, logically, plainly, simply, that whole system begins to fall apart. You can't distract someone who's paying attention. You can't manipulate someone who's thinking. You can't control someone who pauses and says, wait, does any of this actually add up? That's why common sense becomes a threat. Because it interferes with the official script. And governments love scripts, the kind where every citizen is an extra. And the people in power are always the heroes, even when they're the ones burning down the building. Look at the modern world. If you use common sense, if you rely on your own judgment, if you question the official version of events, suddenly you're suspicious. You ask why something is happening. Suspicious. You point out that a policy contradicts itself. Suspicious. You notice that the people making the rules aren't following the rules. Now you're extremely suspicious. It's almost comical. Just noticing the obvious gets you treated like you're planning a revolution. Meanwhile, the people actually causing chaos, through incompetence, greed, or sheer stupidity, get away with everything because they hide behind the magic phrase, a national security. Common sense tells you the truth long before the authorities do. You don't need intelligence briefings, classified documents, or official reports to understand that something isn't working. Humans evolved with the ability to recognize nonsense. It's built into us like the ability to walk. But somehow, society has turned nonsense into a national resource. The more nonsense you accept, the more good of a citizen you are. The more nonsense you question, the more dangerous you become. You can't have a functioning democracy if people start applying common sense to the decisions of their leaders. If they did, half of those leaders wouldn't last a week in the teeth. So what do the people in power do? They flip the script. They make common sense seem irresponsible. They make questioning seem unpatriotic. They make clarity look like troublemaking. They don't have to ban common sense officially. They just stigmatize it, mock it, punish it, drown it in noise, bury it in bureaucracy, and smother it with slogans. Before long, people stop using it out of fear of sticking out. And once people stop using their own judgment, they rely entirely on the people in charge, which is exactly how the people in charge like it. The truth is, common sense threatens power because it makes power answerable. It demands explanations. It demands consistency. It demands honesty. And those are the three things any government avoids like a teenager avoids chores. Common sense is the flashlight in a dark room full of people who don't want you to see what they're doing. Of course they're going to call it a threat. Of course they're going to act like it's dangerous. For them, it is that systems today are built in a way that slowly replaces a person's natural thinking with a series of instructions, warnings, and pre-approved opinions. It starts small, almost innocent. A sign here, a guideline there, a rule nobody asked for, but everybody has to follow. Before long, people stop using their own judgment because the system has already done the thinking for them. And when people stop thinking for themselves, the system becomes the only brain in the room. That's exactly how the people running things want it. When you rely on your own logic, your own instincts, your own ability to observe the world, you become unpredictable. You might disagree. You might resist. You might ask the one thing they can't stand. Why? But if the system can convince you that every situation requires a rule and every thought needs approval, then you're much easier to manage. Look at how society trains people. Every day we're greeted by warnings that treat us like confused toddlers lost in a shopping mall. Do not stand on the top step. Coffee may be hot. Or do not eat this battery. Somewhere in an office, a committee actually sat down and approved these signs because they assume people can't figure out basic reality on their own. And once you flood the world with instructions, people stop trusting their own common sense. They wait to be told what to do, how to act, what to think. The system becomes the babysitter, the parent, the teacher, the GPS of life. You don't think, you follow. Governments love this setup because a population that follows rules without questioning them is the easiest population to control. They create layers of complexity, forms, procedures, protocols, until thinking for yourself becomes a burden. Instead of using your own reasoning, you rely on regulation. Instead of analyzing a situation, you check what the rule book says. People become so dependent on official guidelines that they forget the simple truths they used to know instinctively. Bureaucracy replaces intuition. Policies replace judgment. Compliance replaces intelligence. And it doesn't stop with warnings and rules. It seeps into speech, behavior, choices, and beliefs. Systems create official narratives that tell you what's appropriate to think and what's inappropriate to question. They don't need to censor you directly. They just surround you with noise until you start doubting your own ability to interpret reality. Everything becomes regulated, monitored, approved, or restricted. And the natural flow of human understanding gets buried under layers of artificial control. People start believing that thinking is dangerous, questioning is rebellious, and independent judgment is some kind of social crime. This is how you gradually turn a society of thinking adults into a society of obedient followers. The system doesn't want you analyzing a situation. It wants you checking the rule first. It doesn't want you asking if something makes sense. It wants you asking if it's allowed. The more complicated the system becomes, the more people surrender their own mental autonomy to avoid the frustration of navigating it. Eventually, people forget they were ever capable of figuring things out for themselves. And once that happens, the system doesn't have to suppress common sense anymore. People stop using it voluntarily. Clarity is dangerous because the moment you start seeing things clearly, you stop falling for the tricks. You stop buying the excuses, the slogans, the staged outrage, the patriotic wallpaper they use to cover up the cracks in the system. Clarity exposes corruption in a way that no investigation, no committee, no report ever could. You don't need a team of experts with charts and microphones. All you need is a quiet moment and a functioning brain. If something looks crooked, if something feels wrong, if something consistently benefits the same small group of people while everyone else keeps struggling, clarity tells you exactly what's happening long before anyone in power admits it. And because clarity is such a threat to the people running the show, they do everything they can to keep the public foggy, confused, distracted, and overwhelmed. When you think clearly, you realize how obvious most of the corruption actually is. It's not hidden behind layers of mystery. It's right out in the open in plain sight, like a billboard announcing the stupidity of the system. You notice patterns. You notice repeated failures that always seem to end with more money missing, more rights gone, and more explanations that don't explain anything. You begin to understand that the people who claim to be fixing the problems are the same people who created them. Once that picture becomes clear, you stop treating these authorities like experts and start viewing them like what they are: overpaid amateurs pretending to be professionals. The system depends on citizens accepting contradictions without question. They tell you the economy is booming while your wallet is empty. They tell you you're safer than ever while the world looks like it's one bad Tuesday away from collapse. They tell you everything is under control while nothing works properly. Not the roads, not the schools, not the hospitals, not the people making the decisions. Clarity doesn't buy any of this. Clarity says if everything is going great, why does everything feel terrible? And because that type of question cuts right to the heart of the nonsense, the system treats clarity like a weapon. People in power prefer a public that stays confused. Confusion is a shield. If people don't understand the rules, they can't challenge them. If people don't understand how money moves, they can't follow it. If people don't understand what's being done in their name, they can't object. But clarity shines a light on all those little dark corners where the deals are made, where the speeches are written, where the speeches are written, where the lies are prepared. Clarity ruins the magic trick because it makes you watch the magician's hands instead of the hat. Every time you see the truth plainly, corruption gets harder to hide. You start connecting dots that the system works very hard to keep separate. You start noticing that the people who talk the most about honesty are often the ones lying the loudest. You start realizing that the people insisting they care about you are really just worried about themselves. Clarity strips away the illusions that protect power. And that is why power always tries to cloud your vision. Because the moment you see things clearly, the corruption becomes impossible to unsee. In the end, it all comes down to one simple truth. The world isn't suffering from a lack of intelligence, technology, resources, or solutions. It's suffering from a shortage of people willing to think for themselves. Common sense hasn't disappeared. It's been buried under rules, drowned in noise, and treated like contraband. The system doesn't want clear thinkers. It wants obedient passengers on a ship that's already leaking. But the real power has never been in their slogans or their security briefings. It's in the individual who decides to actually pay attention. The moment you start seeing through the nonsense, the whole game changes. You stop being a spectator and become a threat. And maybe that's exactly what the world needs right now. A few more threats armed with nothing but logic, clarity, and the courage to use them.
And I don't know how you are, but I need a place to put my stuff. So that's what I've been doing back there, just trying to find a place for my stuff. You know how important that is. That's the whole meaning of life, isn't it? Trying to find a place for your stuff. That's all your house is. Your house is just a place for your stuff. If you didn't have so much goddamn stuff, you wouldn't need a house. You could just walk around all the time. That's all your house is. It's a pile of stuff with a cover on it. You see that when you take off in an airplane and you look down and you see everybody's got a little pile of stuff. Everybody's got their own pile of stuff. And when you leave your stuff, you gotta lock it up. Wouldn't want somebody to come by and take some of your stuff. They always take the good stuff. They don't bother with that crap you're saving. Ain't nobody interested in your 4th grade arithmetic papers. They're looking for the good stuff. That's all your house is. It's a place to keep your stuff while you go out and get more stuff. Now, sometimes you've got to move. You got to get a bigger house. Why? Too much stuff. You've got to move all your stuff. And maybe put some of your stuff in storage. Now imagine that. There's a whole industry based on keeping an eye on your stuff. Enough about your stuff. Let's talk about other people's stuff. Did you ever notice when you go to somebody else's house, you never quite feel 100% at home? You know why? No room for your stuff. Somebody else's stuff is all over the place. And what awful stuff it is. Where did they get this stuff? And if you have to stay overnight at someone's house, you know, unexpectedly, and they give you a little room to sleep in that they don't use that often, someone died in it 11 years ago, and they haven't moved any of his stuff. Or wherever they give you to sleep, usually right near the bed, there's a dresser, and there's never any room on the dresser for your stuff. Someone else's shit is on the dresser. Have you noticed that their stuff is shit and your shit is stuff? Get that off of there. Now, sometimes you go on vacation, you gotta bring some of your stuff with you. You can't bring all your stuff, just the stuff you really like. The stuff that fits you well that month. Let's say you're gonna go to Honolulu. You're gonna go all the way to Honolulu. You gotta take 2 big bags of stuff, plus your carry-on stuff, plus the stuff in your pockets. You get all the way to Honolulu and you get in your hotel room and you start to put away your stuff. That's the first thing you do in a hotel room is put away your stuff. I'll put some stuff in here, put some stuff down there. Here's another place for some stuff here. I'll put some stuff over there. You put your stuff over there. I'm putting my stuff over here. Here's another place for some stuff. Hey, we got more places than we've got stuff. We're gonna have to buy more stuff. Now, and you put all your stuff away, and you know that you're thousands of miles from home, and you don't quite feel at ease, but you know that you must be okay because you do have some of your stuff with you. And you relax in Honolulu on that basis. That's when your friend from Maui calls and says, hey, why don't you come over to Maui for the weekend? Spend a couple of nights over here. Oh, shit, no. Now what stuff do you bring? Right, you've got to bring an even smaller version of your stuff. Just enough stuff for a weekend on Maui. And you get over, and you're really spread out now. You've got shit all over the world. You've got stuff at home, stuff in storage, stuff in Honolulu, stuff in Maui, stuff in your pockets. Supply lines are getting longer and harder to maintain. But you get over to your friend's house in Maui and they give you a little place to sleep and there's a little window ledge or some kind of a small shelf and there's not much room on it, but it's okay because you don't have much stuff now. And you put what stuff you do have up there. You put your imported French toenail clippers, your odor readers with the 45-day guarantee, your cinnamon-flavored dental floss, and your Afrin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray. And even though you're a long way from home, you know that you must be okay because you do have your Afrin 12-hour decongestant nasal spray. And you relax in Maui on that basis. That's when your friend says, hey, I think tonight we'll go over the other side of the island and stay at my friend's house overnight. Oh, shit, no. No! What do you bring? Now you just bring the things you know you're gonna need. Money, keys, comb, wallet, lighter, hanky, pen, cigarettes, contraceptives, Vaseline, whips, chains, whistles, dildos, and a book. Kids, besides being too young, are also too little. It's another thing they have to put up with. They're too goddamn little. You've noticed them, haven't you? I won't laugh in front of them, man, but they're too fucking little. Kids spend all that time, all those important years, way the hell down there. Teeny little things, they really do start you out small when you're a kid, don't they? Look at this, Dan. We've got a kid. What you gonna do with him? Gonna raise him. Don't plant him too deep, you know. Sure, for all those years you're stuck down there and the whole world's up here. Or you're stuck down here and the whole world is up there. Everything's up there. Everything's built for them. All the furniture, right? No, they give you one little table and a couple of chairs in your room, you know. But your brother sits on it and breaks it, right? You're stuck. Everything's up there. Hey, pardon me. Hey, look out for a cigarette, will you? Ouch, goddamn. Hey, you want to look for the cookies? Would you look for the cookies, please? Yeah, they're up there. They're not down here. Yeah. They don't keep them here. They keep them up there. I can't see up there at all.
I've never seen it up there. I wouldn't know where to look. They're up there somewhere. Just take a look around, will you? Would you please look around? Just give it a chance. Give it a try. Just look everywhere. Open everything up. Open everything. Look at everything. Up high. Do you know where they are? He knows where they are. Tell him. Tell him where they are. He knows where they are. Give me a help. Hey, tell him. Just tell him. Just tell him you know. Hey, come on. Hurry up. Please, come on. Yeah, man. You don't know much down here. Well, you know about the nap of the rug. Have a pretty clear idea about the migration of dust in an urban apartment. You know where all the electrical outlets are. Makes you handy as hell the week before Christmas. Come here, Dad. I'll show you. Come on, I ain't going over here. Right here. This one had a brown mark on it. Sure, you're just a little guy down here, and your handle is extended? That's the thing they use to take you places. Come on, we're going downtown. Whoa. And simply because you're so small, just because you're tiny, they pick you up and throw you in the air. You don't see them throwing each other in the air, do you? It isn't safe. Just you, because you're teeny. Your uncle comes over on Thanksgiving. Whoa, boy. Look at him. Ain't he a teeny? Goddamn, I'm gonna throw him up in the air. Come here. I got him. I got you. Hold on. I got him. Okay, you go over there. Okay, I got him. Oh, Margaret, I'm sorry. I lost him in the sun. We got any turkey left? Yeah, there were rules. I wasn't too good at rules myself. Well, I was good at breaking them. You'd think that would count, you know? It's a category. No such luck was marked against you. Didn't have a lot of luck with them because they didn't all seem logical to me. For some reason or another, some of them seemed dumb. Now, there were good rules, to be sure. There were some fine rules. No running with the scissors. That's one I always obeyed. Made sense to me. Shit, this big mother will go right through me. What are you doing? I'm not running with the scissors. Another good rule was no sticking your head out of the high-speed railroad train window. God damn, Dad, good rule. Oh, yeah. Doesn't want us to get our heads chopped off. Fucking great. Must be having a great day, Dad. There were some rules that were not so intelligently drawn, I felt. Some things that didn't make a lot of sense. No running in the halls. Hey. Why? Because it looks like fun, that's why. No running in the halls. Where are you gonna run? In the rooms? Gotta keep turning in the rooms, man. Can't get up any speed at all in the room. Hallways made for running. Another dumb rule I thought was no singing at the table. Why? One guy with a bad voice 100 years ago fucked it up for everybody else? Why? No singing at the table. Why? Because I said so. First sign of a dumb rule. Yeah, you can stand right next to the table all during dinner and sing your ass off. It's not covered by the rule. I'm standing near the table during dinner and I'm singing, and it isn't even covered by your rule. Sit down, you. That was your middle name, you.
Want to go for a ride? Want to go for a ride? Let me go. Let me get this. Let's go for a ride, okay? Well, actually, you'll go for a ride. I'll go for a drive. The person who drives the car, they're the one who goes for a drive. The other people, they go for a ride. People don't know that. Tell them when they're in your car. Say, you assholes are going for a ride. I'm going for a drive, because I'm making the payments on this. This is my car, for purposes of discussion. And it's like any car, it's tough to get into it. You know, you gotta get in the car first. And it's not easy if you think about it. There's a certain amount of risk involved getting in the car. Have you noticed how wonderful it is, that the way they designed the car? That the driver's door is right out in the middle of goddamn traffic? Holy shit. I mean, you haven't even gotten in this death machine yet, and you almost died once. What you need is a nice long red light back about 1.5 miles. Because you need a little time and space to get in your car with a little style and grace. I've often held up traffic for 2 or 3 hours just going like that. As I said, this is my car. My car has one of those door handles. A lot of people have them, I think, now. The kind of door handles which is recessed a little bit into the door and your fingers actually go in a little before they grab it. Don't you like that? I like that. That's why they're not going to make it anymore. They found out we like that. And my door, when I open my door goes whoosh, and my door swings all the way open. You know what I mean? All the way open. I don't have one of those fancy doors that hangs there halfway and stays there, you know. My door is either fucking closed or fucking open. That's it. We got 2 things, pick one. And if you're gonna do anything really tricky, like get in the car, you better prop that door open with a broom handle, Jack. Because sure as shit, it's gonna come back and whoa! Oh, and that hurts for about 1.5 years, you know. And the little purple ring never goes away. Now, I have an additional problem getting into my car because my driver's seat is pushed all the way forward on those 2 little runners, and it's never coming back again. There are about 50 of those little pop-top beer can rings all fused into one piece of metal, and this thing is never going to move unless there's an atomic attack. Now, we get in the car if we can and get going. Well, we have one additional thing. You may have parked in this parking lot where you had full access to your car when you went into the shopping center, but now that you've been in there, some asshole has parked right next to you. And you have about 4 degrees clearance now. And you gotta try and get in, and you're carrying 12 gifts and wearing a top hat. Plus, your back is not built for this. You know, backs are not made for getting into cars, I'll tell you. My back hurts just standing around thinking. Imagine this shit. And besides your back, getting in like this, you also risk serious ball injury from the steering wheel. So far, the worst thing that's happened is the flow through my femoral artery has been cut off for over 18 minutes. Fortunately, I was parked in front of a first aid station at the time. But I'm in the car and I'm right up front. What I mean is I'm forward in this car. You know what I mean? I'm right on the firewall, okay? Hey, if I want to look at the speedometer, I gotta go. But at least I'm in the car. And the goddamn door is still wide open. Well, maybe I can reach it, you know? Maybe without dislodging myself, I can reach and close it. Fuck it, we'll drive with the door open today. It's a lovely day anyway, isn't it? And they say it helps you on left-hand turns. Okay, now we're going to be going for this drive/ride any minute here. First, a philosophical question. Have you ever noticed when you're driving that anyone who's driving slower than you is an idiot? And anyone driving faster than you is a maniac! Say, look at this idiot here. Will you just look at this idiot just creeping along? Whoa, look at that maniac. Go! I mean, it's a wonder we ever get anywhere at all with all the idiots and maniacs there are. Because there's certainly no one driving at my speed. I don't let anybody drive at my speed, do you? Bullshit, some guy's going my speed, fuck him, I slow down, man. Let him get up ahead a little bit. I can keep an eye on that asshole from back here. I like to know who I'm driving near. I'll often ask for personal references at a yield sign. Okay, now, certain stuff we want to remember before we go for a drive, certain basic things. First of all, There are some things that happen in the car, little embarrassments you suffer, but everyone knows about them. This is an example of what I mean. Have you ever been driving someone else's car and they're in the car for some reason? You know what I mean? You're driving their car and they're there too. Let's say they fell out of a window and broke both of their knees in a courtyard. For the sake of argument, and they can't drive and you're driving their car. And you're used to your car. And your turn signal is mounted on the opposite side of the steering column from their turn signal, and you go to shift gears and you break off their fucking turn signal. Holy shit, came right off, didn't it? Have to throw that mother away. God damn, you'll have to get a new one of them. Shit, that broke easy, didn't it? Some things break easy, don't they? Some things just come right off. Radio knobs in a car. God, they're fragile. Just trying to tune something in. Just trying to find something you can tolerate. Holy shit, came right off. Look at that. Throw that mother away. Give me one out the bag. I got about 80 of them down there. Thank you, man. And you wind up listening to something just the other side of the glove compartment. Now, here's an embarrassing thing. This is really embarrassing. This will stay with you for several hundred miles. You know those things you don't shake off right away? Like when you almost got killed by the big tractor-trailer truck? And you had to pull over for 20 minutes and not do anything but listen to your heart? This is the same kind of thing. And this is one you do it yourself. It's so great. You ever pull up to a red light and you go a little bit too far into the intersection? So you put the car in reverse and you back up just a little bit, and then you forget the car is in reverse. You are truly an accident waiting to happen. And then the light changes. Holy shit, how did I get back here? This is where I started from. God, you gotta pay attention even at the red lights, don't you? I thought sure they were for resting. Didn't it seem that way to you? Drive a little while, rest a little while. Oh, you have a lot of fun at the red lights. You ever kill somebody at the red light? You can do it, they're walking right in front of you, man. Let's kill this asshole, huh? Nah, let him go. Hey, let's kill this broad. Okay, nah, fuck it, let her go. Okay, let's not kill anybody today. 2 people saved, man changed his mind. Here's a little red light story somebody told me. Guy's driving along, got someone sitting right next to him, and he goes right through a red light. Guy says, what are you doing? He said, never mind, will you? My brother drives like this. Goes a little bit further, comes to another red light. Right through it. What you doing? I told you, will you stop it? My brother drives like this. Comes to a green light and he stops. What are you doing? Well, my brother might be coming the other way. What's the first thing they teach you in driver education? They tell you where to put your hands on the steering wheel. They tell you to put them at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Bullshit, I put mine at 9:45 and 2:17. Gives me an extra half an hour to get to work, you know? By the way, use everything on your car. You know what I mean? It's yours. Fuck it, you paid for the car. Use everything, man. Flip your sun visor, even on a cloudy day. Who knows? Flip it over here, flip it up and down, flip it on the side like the French people do. Flip the other one, even if no one is there. Open the ashtray, push in the lighter, even if you don't smoke. Turn all the knobs, have a lot of fun. Put your hand out the window, tell people to stop. You have power, power, stop, hold on. You, stop. So, and then let one person go. Okay, you can go, not you, you go. Okay, hey, fuck it, have a little fun. You paid for the car, you know what I mean? Now, a couple of things for the road, like let's remember not to get behind anybody weird. Or even somebody mildly weird. You ever been behind a guy whose turn signal has been on for 80 miles? And you say, well, maybe he's just really cautious, you know. I'm not gonna pull out now, he may go at any moment. And you find out later he was going around the world to the left. You ever have somebody behind you whose brights are on? Isn't that fun? Someone behind you whose brights are on. Someone who just had his headlights aimed and wants to show you what a wonderful job the mechanic did. You know how you take care of those people, don't you? Slam on the brakes, let them plow right into you, man. Sure put some fucking lights out in a big hurry, I'll tell you that. Let him find his way home, you know what I mean? He got out, he can get home. Another kind of person you don't want to get behind is anybody slow. Boy, that's really good for your arteries. You get behind somebody really slow. There are two classes of human beings to avoid in this category. The first one is any woman whose head you can't see in the car at all. Any 4-foot woman in a Cadillac is certain death. I pull over and take public transportation myself. I'm not fucking with a ghost car, you know? Let someone else flag down the Flying Dutchman. It's not my job. You say, well, maybe it's just coasting. No, I see knuckles. It's definitely not a robot car. And the other type of person, I want to keep these books in balance, the other type of person whom you don't want to get anywhere near, much less behind, any man over 70 wearing a hat. Especially a checkered hat with ear laps. In August. Because you know you get pissed, even if you think you're a pretty cool customer. You know you get pissed sometimes. Don't you wish sometimes instead of having those cute little lights in the front of your car, you had 50 caliber machine guns mounted up there? I'd cream this cocksucker if I had real ammunition, Mark. Or you wish you had a rented car for just half an hour. So you could bash this asshole and pay the $50 deductible and be done with him, you know what I mean? Boom, boom, boom. Just trying to ease him up into second gear. Or you wish you had a message board that would come up out of the trunk of your car and you could type in any message you like. You drive like old people fuck. Slow and sloppy. You ever been driving through heavy downtown kind of traffic, you know, block to block, street to street, busy area, not freeway, but street to street, people backing out at 5 o'clock, busy stuff. Maybe it's winter and it's dark already and it's raining a little bit, got the window open, you can hear the rain, you can hear the traffic, people bumping into each other, got the radio on, got the windshield wipers going. So everything's happening at once, radio, windshield, rain, traffic, everything going on, and you're just trying to get across town and take care of something, you know, and you get over there and park the car, turn off the key and go inside, take care of the business, and you come out and you turn on the key, and the goddamn radio is this loud! Could I possibly have been listening to that? You know, I believe someone broke into this car and tampered with my volume control. And that's the only thing they touched. Here's something you'll be doing tonight. This is one you do all the time. If you get in the car, you're committed to do this following thing over and over. When you're driving, you have to decide which car to get behind at the red light. There's a block to go. There are 3 lanes to choose from. It's completely up to you to decide who's the really fast asshole in this group up ahead. Now, just a couple of things to remind you before I tow this trusty little thing back to the garage. A couple of things that go without saying, that's why I'm going to say them. First of all, when you're driving, let's all keep in mind, when you're driving and you come to the scene of an accident, for God's sake, slow down and try to find out what's going on. And if you can't see enough, ask the policeman to bring the bodies over a little closer to your car. Say, would you bring them over here? My wife has never seen a man shaped in quite that manner. That's what they're here for, to protect, to serve, and to bring the bodies over a little closer to the car. And the other thing, which we've all heard a million times, but it bears repeating, drinking and driving simply do not mix. So do your drinking early and get it out of the way, and then go driving. See ya, thank you. Whoa, a little toe job. Thank you.
I wanted to do a nostalgic thing here for my own sake and for the request of a couple of people that are on the crew that listen or look and through viewers or listening on headsets or whatever, and do a little weather forecast from Al Sleet. Al Sleet, the Hippy Dippy Weatherman. Hey, baby, what's happening? Que pasa? Que what you call your pasa? Al Sleet here, your Hippy Dippy Weatherman, with all the Hippy Dippy weather, man. Brought to you by Parsons Pest Control. Do you have termites, water bugs, and roaches? Well, Parsons will help you get rid of the termites and water bugs and help you smoke the roaches. Temperature at the airport is 88 degrees, which is stupid, man, because I don't know anybody who lives at the airport. Now, if you'll take a look at our national weather map, you'll see that we don't have one. So try to picture last night's map in your mind. Remember all the letters and lines, all them little numbers. The weather's dominated by a large Canadian low, which is not to be confused with a Mexican high. Tonight's forecast, dark. Continued dark tonight, turning to partly light in the morning. Oh, Al got out of the weather business, and he's now a linoleum quality control inspector in a linoleum plant. Al, he wanted to get out of the media. You know, he said, fuck it, I don't need it. And, hey, who can blame him? No, but Al got out of weather when he realized he had given the final weather forecast. He had given the ultimate forecast. There was nowhere to go. You know, when there's nothing left to conquer in your field, hey, it's time to leave. And old Al had given the ultimate forecast. He told us, he said one night, that the weather will continue to change on and off for a long, long time. And he was gone from us. God bless Al. Does the time bother you? I get bothered by the time. Not so much the time itself, the people bother me for the time. People come up to me on the street. I'm sure you've had this happen to you. People come up to you and say, what time it is? Well, they might say, what time is it? I shouldn't get into these ballads. You've had people come up to you and say, what time is it? What time is it? As if you personally were responsible for keeping time? You know, I feel honored, first of all, that they thought I was the man in charge. But I do have to explain, you don't see official timekeeper on here, do you? I don't have the time, of course not. Do you have the time? That's another way they say, do you have the time? I say, no. I don't believe I do. I certainly didn't have it this morning. Did you leave it somewhere? Well, do you have the time? No, I don't have the time. I use a little of it like everyone, you know. But I don't have it. I think the Navy has it. In Washington, isn't that? They keep it in an observatory, that's right. Sure, they let out a little of it each day. Not too much. They wouldn't want to give us too much. Just enough. Time. Sometimes they'll say, "Do you know what time it is?" And I say, "Yes." I hate to disappoint them, but there is no time. There is no time. I don't mean there's no time. I mean there's no time. When the hell is it? We made that whole thing up. There's no time. We made it up. It's a man-made invention, time. There are no numbers up in the sky. I've looked. They're not there. We made this stuff up. When is it? When the hell is it? When are we, I ask you? When are we? Sometimes we think we know where we are, but we don't really know when we are. When the hell is it? All the time zones are different. Every calendar you run across is different. They'll all give you a different answer. These are calendars. These are made to keep track of time. Everybody's got a different one. Chinese are way up there in the 5 and 6,000s. Hebrew calendars way up in the 5 and 6,000s. We're up at about 1970-something shit. This ain't a couple of weeks these people are off. This is thousands of goddamn years that are missing, man. How did they do that? We don't know when the hell it is. It could be the middle of last month for all we know. I mean, time is we've got it down so perfect that every 4 years we have to stick in an extra day just to make sure it still works. And we call it February 29th. Bullshit, it's March 1st and I know it. It just feels like March 1st. You can't keep track of the time. What's the sense? Give you an example. There's a moment coming. It's not here yet. It's still on the way. It's in the future. It hasn't arrived. Here it comes. Here it is. Oh, shit, it's gone. There's no now. There's no now. Everything is the near future or the recent past. But there's no present. Welcome to the present. Gone again. It's just so imprecise. We don't even care to use the minutes and seconds and hours that we've been given. Everybody's very vague about the time. You say, "What time you got?" I got just after. Just after? Jeez, I must be slow. I had going on. And where did that imprecision begin? Why is it we're not so sure? I know one of the clues that happened to me was when they started telling me about moments. When I was a kid, they were trying to teach me how to tell time. And, of course, you can't tell time. Time tells you. But they were trying. They were trying to show me. On the big hand, I said, "I don't have a big hand." Never mind. Look at the clock. And the clock is so wonderful. There's so much emotion attached to a clock face. I hate digital clocks. Digital clocks rob me of all the emotional experience of the spatial relationships on that face of the clock. Isn't it true? I mean, don't you always feel that this half hour, when it comes down from 12 down to 6, goes by a lot quicker than this half hour when it has to come up fighting gravity all the way? I know, it does go a lot quicker. God. Oh, I got this. Yeah. I'll tell you this, if I only have a half hour to live, I want it to be this one, man. I want to last just a little bit longer than that one there. It's vague. That's all I'm saying. It's very vague how we treat time. We have all these wonderful expressions. We say now. Now is an interesting one. When? Now. You want that now? Yes. Well, would you like to try again? Or sometimes just now. Just now. Did you hear that? What? Just now. You must mean just then, don't you? Yes, just then. But there it goes again. When? Now. No, not now. No. Pardon me, do you have the time? When do you mean, now or when you ask me? This shit is moving, Ruth. We had a lot of these vague terms. Right away, immediately, at once, lickety-split, just like that, nothing flat, drop of a hat, no time at all. As quick as you can say, Jack Robinson. I'm sure you've done that to people. I'll be back before you can say Jack Robinson. Jack Robinson, hi, you're not back. How about a jiffy? A jiffy. Or a flash. Which is quicker? A jiffy or a flash? I think there are two flashes in a jiffy myself. But God knows how many jiffies there are in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And why did they use 2 shakes of a lamb's tail? What's wrong with the basic unit of measurement? 1 shake of a lamb's tail. We can do our own arithmetic, thank you. Belched a little there. Tried to swallow that one. Then we have words like soon. Soon. That's a very emotional word. There's a lot of potential for drama in that word soon. 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 Is your mother coming home? Uh-huh. When? Soon. Real soon. As soon as she can. Sooner than you think. That's kind of a spooky one. Sooner than I think. That's a little bit like before you know it. I'll be back before you know it. He did it. Holy Christ. Look at that. And we go on with these terms that we use, these vague terms of time. One of these days, before long, any time now. Well, that's true. Everything's going to happen any time now. Any day now. That's kind of a snotty one, any day now. Hey, I'll be giving you that $5 I owe you, Bill. Yeah, any day now. Sooner or later, now and then, once in a while, from time to time, in a little while. In a little while. Well, it'll just be a little while. That's a wonderful one. I just love that. It sounds so benign. Just a little while. Couldn't hurt you, could it? You can wait a little while. It'll only be a little while longer. Just a little while. That's so different from a short time. Short time. Sounds almost terminal, doesn't it? You only have a short time. Whereas you have a little while. Oh, I'd rather have a little while than a short time. Yeah, we got long ways we measure time. We got vast distances of time we measure. People will say things like, kingdom come. I'm going to be standing here till kingdom come. Shit, I don't have that on my watch. Doomsday, you say? Doomsday. Till the cows come home. Well, that's an easy one to understand. That's long about dusk, isn't it? If you leave them out overnight, they burst. Here's a long period of time, forever. Some people will tell you, guys, say, I've been standing on this line forever. Look at this, Dave. This man has been standing on line forever. He looks fairly fresh to me. Almost like an eternity, people will tell you. It's almost like an eternity, as if they had experience with eternities. Now, you must have a favorite period of time. I have some favorites. I just want to try a few of them on you. It isn't easy to select a favorite period of time, so many of them are attractive, but there are little periods of time that, that you might relate to. Of course, the most basic period of time, I feel, is 5 minutes. That seems to be the one everyone chooses. If they need to think of a period of time real quickly, they just go, 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. I'll be there in just 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, would you please? Would you just give me 5 minutes? Were you kidding me? I could fix that shit in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That's all most people want, 5 minutes. A good, solid, nice period of time. You can do anything for 5 minutes, can't you? I mean anything. Even things you really hate. You could probably do it for 5 minutes, man. Hey, let's go talk to Ted. Are you kidding? Ted's an asshole. Look, just 5 minutes, huh? Okay, let's give it 5 minutes. Not 10. 10 I can't make. Now you're getting into double digits. You're starting to fool with my head. Time. 5, 10 minutes. 15 minutes is popular. You hear 15 quite a bit, but it's sort of an institutional one. It's kind of an official time period. 15 minutes. Has a touch of regulatory quality to it, doesn't it? It sounds like something you're not supposed to do or have to do for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I like 20 minutes. Doesn't that sound free? Compared to 15 minutes. 20 minutes. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Gosh, what's he gonna do? You have those news stories?